Welcome back to Memo's Tech Tips. I'm Camilo, and this is part 2 on a tutorial on how to pick the components when building your own personal computer. So on this segment, I'm going to talk about the power supply and the dedicated video card. So as I said in my previous video, the power supply is what is in charge of distributing the power throughout your system. It is probably the second most important piece, or the most important piece, I say, because it's its job to basically fuel your system. So basically, your power supply turns DC power from your outlet to AC power. AC power from your outlet to DC power for your components. And again, you do not want to get run-of-the-mill, not a good component-wise power supply, because you want to be able to trust your power supply when you press that power button and your system turns on and you see all those lights. You don't want to press the power and go like this, all these sparks start flying. No. That's very bad. So here we have an OZZ ZT series 750 watt power supply. 750 watt is, I say, about average. When you build your own computer, you can kick it down to about 600, depending on the graphics card that you're gonna get. And we'll get to that in a little while. So basically, there's two types of power supplies. Today, from the time of filming of these videos, because I don't know if in 10 years there's going to be something else. You have your non-modular power supply, which I don't have to show because I don't use them and I haven't had one for a while. And then you have your modular power supply. And I'll try to show you the difference with the modular. Well, I can show you the modular and the non-modular. So basically, we can unpack the power supply, and this is it. And if you're asking yourself, where are the cables? They're right here. All of these cables are right there. So this is the benefit of having a modular power supply, because if you get a non-modular power supply, and I'm going to demonstrate this real quick, and I'm going to I'll be back. I'm gonna cut this out of the video, and we're back. So if you get a non-modular power supply, this is basically where you're gonna expect when you take it out of the box. You're going to expect something like this. All of these wrapped like this, and a big zip tie around them. And usually they're just coming from one corner of the power supply. They're not spread out like they are on this one. So these were all the cables that came with it. This is these are about maybe 6, probably like 9 SATA connections and about 6 Molex. You have 4 8-pin PCI Express. We'll get that in a minute. That's for your graphics card. And you have the motherboard cable, and you have your CPU power. This is for power directly powers your CPU, your processor on the motherboard. So maybe you can't see it or not, but you don't need all these cables unless you are gonna run 2, 3 video cards, about 8 hard drives, and yeah, and about maybe 20 fans. So basically, you can connect. Basically, you connect the wires that you need, the ones that you're gonna use. Certainly, you're gonna use at least your motherboard connector, your CPU, and at least one SATA connector for your hard drive. So that's at least 3 cables. But 3 cables are way better than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cables in total, minus 3. Those are the ones that you don't want to, that you're not gonna use. Now, if you're gonna run and these are nice cables. These are nice and black sleeved, so you see them in there. They're nice and black. You can hardly tell they're there. And then you can cable manage them better, because since they're modular, let's say you had a full tower. This is not a full tower. This is mid-size. A full tower will probably be up to here. Okay. Some of these cables are not long enough. The power supply sits on this case, sits in the bottom. Some of them sit on the top. And also they have different colors. So you can go and search online, and you can find different color power supply cables that, of course, they're gonna be compatible, because all the power supply cables are basically the same. They have the same ground and voltage. Again, make sure you're getting good quality, because that's also a factor on the cables. So, just gonna disconnect them real quick. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, we have this beautiful black, and it's gonna sit actually like this in the tower, which you're not gonna really see. But again, you connect the power cables that you need. Very awesome, very awesome. Again, you can go around the 600 watt, maybe even a 550 watt. Also look at the ampage, the voltage. Some of them have the same wattage, but not the same ampage or voltage, or the max load. Some of them you can actually put more than actually what it says, because they have a max load rating. So I'm just gonna put this all over there. Actually, I'm gonna put them. And the cables that you don't need, you can put them in this nice black sleeve. Put them all in there. Well, they're not actually all wrapped up, but they all go in there, and have a nice little storage area for them. I'm just gonna put these on the side, and let's talk about the video card. The video card I got my client, since he told me he wasn't going to do any heavy duty gaming. I told him he could have ran off the CPU, but he said his son might want to play some games, even though he could have ran off the CPU even still, because I don't think his son will probably play Battlefield 3 or Diablo 3 or any of those games. But if he does, this card can withstand that on around medium settings, or even low to medium settings, because as I said, he had a budget, so we couldn't go with a high-end card. So he basically got a basic card. The good thing about this motherboard, this is why I left it outside, is you can use the GPU that it has internally with the dedicated video card, and basically use them together to enhance the performance of the video that you're playing. So instead of getting 40 frames a second or 30 frames a second, using software that's built in already to the motherboard, and hardware, of course, you could basically boost that up to 60 or even 70 frames a second. So it's a really good feature. So we basically got this level entry card. This is EVGA GT640 from NVIDIA, of course. There are 2 types of card, AMD and NVIDIA. AMD, it used to be ATI and NVIDIA. AMD bought ATI. So their cards are actually really good also. They perform equally as well. They have a lot of benchmarks on the web for the processors. They compete all the time. It's like a race, non-stop race every day between these 2 companies. It's not the companies that run. Well, they do run their own benchmarks, but a lot of geeks and gamers and reviewers, they run their own benchmarks. So here we have just a simple card. It's capable of running 2 DVI monitors and an HDMI monitor, all 3 at the same time. Supports DirectX 11 games, Bluetooth 3D support, NVIDIA Surround, True HD, NVIDIA CUDA, NVIDIA Physics. This runs on a 3.0, and just to let you know, I forgot to mention the board. This board can run 2nd and 3rd generation Intel i5, i3, i5, and i7, but the 2nd generation doesn't support PCI 3.0. So these 3.0s that are on this board will automatically be turned into a 2.0, and you cannot run 3.0s on the 2nd generation. You need the 3rd generation, and this is the 3rd generation PCI bus also. So it's an entry level. I have several cards. You have these are old cards that I have laying around. This is the one I just got rid of. This is a GTS 250, which served me well for a couple of years. But once I got into Diablo and other games, just wasn't cutting it. So, but this is, you can tell the difference. It's a lot bigger. But this actually has 2 gigabytes of RAM. This one only has 1 gigabyte of RAM. If you're saying, well, the RAM is on the thing, no. These use their own dedicated RAM, and they have, why you have these is that they have a graphics processor on them, so it takes the burden off the GPU and runs its own processor on the card. So that's another card. This is the one I had for this one. This is the NVIDIA GeForce 9800 GT. Another simple card. You can run 2 monitors off that, or S video. That's a simple card. Nobody uses these anymore. I just want to show you the difference. But this is where it gets on the heavy side. This is my current card. I had a nice tucked away. This is the EVGA NVIDIA GeForce GTX 690. This is their latest card. This is a $1,000 card, and you don't get this unless you're really going to do some serious gaming, or you're gonna do some serious 3D, 4 monitors. You don't get this card. This is $1,000. This is an expensive card. Mid-level, they run about maybe 200 to 400, and then you get to the high level around above 400 to $1,000. So yeah, this is basically 2 cards in one, because it has 2 GPUs on it, and it's 4 gigabytes of RAM, 2 gigabytes dedicated for each GPU on there. And I can run 4 screens off this. So I have 3 DVIs and 1 display port, and I can run 3 3D monitors and 1 regular monitor. So this is a heavy duty card. This is magnesium. This is also vapor chamber. So you have a huge, wide variety of cards when it comes to graphic cards and also motherboards. So just choose wisely. Make sure you're doing your reading online, and because it's very expensive. Why I said that the power supply and the video cards basically work in conjunction, because I'm trying to find something I can lay this on that's non-conductive. Well, the wood is non-conductive. And just to show you the size difference, this is the GT 640, the 690, and we have the GTS 250. Okay, so depending on the card that you're gonna get, then you're gonna have to maybe change your case, because you don't really have to worry about what case you're gonna put this little card in, but you are gonna have to worry about what case you're gonna fit this in. Because if I just, let's see if I actually I'm gonna take this out real quick. Thumb screws, but they're hard to take off sometimes. Well, I just took it out the box, so easily tighten. There you go. Just got to take this out. Oh, this one. So if I put this card in here, you're gonna see that I have about an inch before I hit the back panel on the hard drives. See right there, I don't have a lot of space. And the thing with this card is that the exhaust heat also comes out the back. These cards right here, the heat is dissipated also, it's just through the front, but because the fan is back here. But the fan on this one is in the middle, so it dissipates both ways, because there's two GPUs on here, so it has to cool both of those. So you can see I hardly have any room. I could put it on there, but I wouldn't like to. It'll be too inconvenient for me. That's why I have a full tower. You have about, maybe on my tower, you have about that much space left. So a good amount of space for air to like vent through around it. Let me put this back down. I'm gonna take these cards around. Okay. So then we have the power supply. So the power supply, some power supplies have 6-pin PCI Express or 8-pin PCI Express, and you could turn an 8-pin into a 6-pin, or you could turn two 6-pins into one 8-pin. So basically, you have your, there you see it's separated, so you have 6, and you have the 8, and you put those together, and so you have 6 and then 2, and you connect those together, and you have 8. So you basically, depending on the video card you have, is the power supply that you might want to get, because when you run an 8-pin, you're basically dealing with a high-end graphics card. When you run a 6-pin graphics card, you're dealing around the mid-range, but this one doesn't have any pins. It basically runs off the power off the PCI Express. It doesn't require that much power. So, excuse me, a little bit hot in here. So on this one, you have a 6-pin. How much is this? 6-pin also. So 6-pin. So when you gonna run it, you're gonna, instead of the 8, you're gonna use 6. There you go. Without this doesn't turn on. It's not enough power just to power it just from the PCI Express. But on my card, on my new one, it requires 2 8-pin connectors, which is massive. Which is actually kind of weird, because the power consumption is actually lower than the 580 graphics card, which has 1 8-pin and 1 6-pin. It's just amazing how it just uses power. Of course, if it's on full load, it is going to use more power on full load. So I'm going to connect those together. Damage my own card. Am I connecting them together correctly? day. Yeah. Okay. You don't want to force them because everything on a computer is supposed to just slide in there without a problem. You never know, that might be defective. So we're gonna try another one. We have them, so let's try them. That one. Yeah, you see how easy that one? Okay, so something's probably wrong with this one. We'll probably have to call, oh, okay. Nothing's wrong with it. You know what it is? I had it on the wrong side. These cables. So you always gotta look. Just had it on the wrong side. Okay. Now it should go. There we go. Okay, so this goes onto here. Boom. Alright. So you can pretty much tell if you're going to require a lot of power depending on the video card you're going to choose. So the video card also has specifications on the minimum recommended wattage for the power supply. I think this one is actually minimum 650 or 750, I'm not entirely sure. So that's my take on power supplies and graphics card. Again, look into the internet. There are so many forums out there and videos to help you choose what graphics card is right for you. On the next video, I'm going to talk about aftermarket cooling and what's left? Storage. And that's about it. So, I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.